Raka, a lawyer and associate professor at the Catholic University of Lille. Thank you so much for your time. First of all, how does police brutality compare in France to other European nations?
The violence is pretty much the same everywhere. There are social tensions in all the countries. And there is no country in the world that is not concerned by the proportionality between ensuring the safety of the people and the abuses from police officers. The question is, in each country, how to supervise the police and who is doing that. And some countries, they have taken serious decisions to control better the police officers, imposing the videos, for example, having an independent authority. This is the case of the UK. This is the case of Belgium. There are plenty of measures that should be maybe taken also in France because of what is happening. The French government should take the responsibility to reform what is happening to the legislation in the country to be more adapted to the tensions that are happening today in France.
Given what you've just told me, Aurélien, why do you think the French government originally proposed such legislation?
In the last weeks, many police officers have been published on websites, their pictures and the names, and the parliament, some members of the parliament from the majority of La République En Marche, they proposed to prohibit filming and taking pictures of police officers when they are in action, and I told you last week that it was completely against the freedom of expression to propose this. In the following days, the government said that they will change this proposal. I think they should do more. They should do some research on what is the best legislation to have more transparency. And so it is.
Aurélien, in terms of what the government needs to do, would you argue that, in fact, they should scrap the legislation altogether?
Today in France, there is one supervisory authority that is called IGPN, so the General Inspection of the National Police. They're more or less independent, but when we look at the data, there were each year there were thousands of complaints against police officers, and only a few there have only few inquiries, investigations against them. If we look at only 2019, there were altogether there were only 30 investigations, around 30 investigations against police officers, and there is a huge disproportion between the number of complaints and the number of investigations. So maybe here the government should work on this and look at what is done by other countries, maybe like in the US or like in the UK, and to reform this. One of the proposals that comes to my mind and that is already applied by some countries in the world, that will be to have camera on police officers. Each police officer should have a camera to check what they're doing. And so that, because each time we have a video, there is more investigation. So maybe that will compensate the failures of the freedom of expression here, and maybe to find a compromise between the work of the police officers and the transparency we need in our society.
Aurélien Raka, thank you for your time. Moving on and to the US, where it's almost a month after the election.